The Civil War, or the War of Northern Aggression, as some in the South still call it today, was a war between two sides of a family. There are still arguments today about what caused the war, but we all know that there was not one reason. Enough hatred was created on both sides to bring a nation to war. In the first 2 years of the war, the South had several victories, and Abraham Lincoln was struggling to find a general he could pit against Robert E. Lee and his Army of Northern Virginia. We come to July 1st through 3rd, 1863. Lee decides to try his luck at ending the war by pushing into the North and fighting against the Army of the Potomac under the new Major General George Meade. The battle starts in Gettysburg, which lies just 7 miles north of the Mason-Dixon line. Day 1, July 1st, 1863, was a back and forth between the Northern and Southern troops, at some point fighting in the center of Gettysburg. People of the town fled the fighting, trying to find anywhere to escape. After the battle, they tended to the many wounded throughout the town. By the end of the day, the Union troops had moved outside the town at Cemetery Hill and dug in their position. Overnight, the rest of the Union army fortified through the hills in a fishhook-shaped defense. Day 2, July 2nd, 1863, brought Lee trying to attack the flanks of the Union fishhook position. Meade's army had the high ground on the hills, a coveted position when fighting at that time. Just imagine running 6 football field lengths through wheat and corn while being shot at, with thousands next to you and thousands more firing at you from a higher position. Men to your left and right are falling with every step. The wave of Confederate attacks against the hills were not successful. The Union army stood their ground. Day 3, July 3, 1863, was the final push for the Southern Army. Lee thought that since he could not defeat Meade's flanks, he would take his men straight into the middle of the Union line. The famous Pickett's Charge was a 1-mile march while being pounded by artillery and rifle fire. Of the 15,000 men that started that charge, 10,000 became casualties, and it failed. They could not break the Union center. Lee's army had to retreat back to Southern territory. Lee loses 1/3 of his army at Gettysburg. He never invades the North again. The war wages on for another 2 years, but the South never regained the momentum lost at Gettysburg, and so many call it the turning point of the war. It is still the deadliest battle that was ever fought on American soil.